My name is Judee Light, and since the beginning of this year, 2025, every month I've been speaking about one of the 12 spiritual powers attributed to humans that Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, wrote about in his book. And I think this is important because these times are calling us, and I've mentioned this before, but we can always be reminded, I'm always reminding myself, calling us to remember the truth with a capital T, to remember who we really are, and to become aware of, if we're not already, and use our spiritual powers consciously and creatively for good in our lives and good in the world. So this month, we're focusing on the power of zeal, also known as enthusiasm. Zeal is that bright inner flame that burns within us, or sometimes a steady candle flame, always available to us, just waiting for us to call upon it. Or maybe not waiting, maybe just popping up. And one of the dictionary definitions of zeal is great enthusiasm or eagerness. And spiritually, zeal is so much more than that. It's that and so much more. It describes, the word enthusiasm comes from entheos, from the Greek, meaning God within. God within. It describes feelings, deep feelings of inner inspiration, of divine presence, of the energy of God within us. So when we feel enthusiasm, it's a lot more than excitement. It's the inner light called forth from the divine presence. Inner light called forth from the divine presence. And Charles Fillmore understood this when he was 94 years old. 94. He wrote the affirmation that I'm going to share with you now. He wrote, "I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm to spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that are to be done by me." Can you imagine having that energy at 94? Can you imagine having that energy at the age you are now? That's spirit. That is spirit. Wow. How wonderful to be able to affirm such energy and vitality and vibrancy. I have that affirmation in his own handwriting in a clear plastic thing, like a frame that has on the back Charles and Myrtle Fillmore's picture. And it came from when we used to have the bookstore there. And Jane Ray May was volunteering back there, and she bought that for me once for my birthday. And I've always kept it on my bookshelf at home, so whenever I'm home, I can see that every day. And I love it, and I'm inspired about it. But it reminds me that zeal isn't limited by age or by circumstance or by our energy level. How many know who Sister Jean is that passed away at age 106 earlier this month? Joel knows. A few people know. If you don't know Sister Jean, just Google it when you get home. But she was a loyal basketball superfan and the team chaplain for many, many years. And she was in that role up until August of this year. And when she passed away, there was so much on the news about it, and on my phone and on Facebook and everything. And every picture I saw of her, she was zeal personified, right? Do you agree, those of you that have seen her? Yeah. So if you haven't, look at her wonderful zeal. Zeal is a state of consciousness, a state of consciousness. It's a divine aliveness available to every one of us at all times, 24/7. In Unity, we know affirmative prayer is one of our greatest tools for raising our consciousness and for remembering the truth of who we are. When we affirm that we are spiritual beings expressing through human bodies, having a human experience, then we're aligning our mind with divine mind. And when we do that, we can then be filled with renewed life, vibrant energy, zeal, and enthusiasm. We are recognizing the divine energy that's in every cell in our body, the God energy within us and all around us. It's in every cell in your body. And your body can heal itself if we just get our minds out of the way or align our minds with that, with the divine mind. Charles Fillmore said in The Revealing Word that affirmation is the mental movement that asserts confidently and persistently the truth of being in the face of all appearances to the contrary. That's affirmation. That's what we're doing every time we affirm our God, our good, our God. It's the same thing, yeah. No matter what the outside appearances try to convince us of. We're saying yes to the energy of God flowing through us, radiating out. When we affirm often enough, sometimes many times a day if necessary, when we affirm often enough that we are one with God and that divine energy flows through us, then those words start to become alive in us as us. They become a natural, free-flowing part of us. We don't even have to think about it anymore. It's who we are. So let's speak a few affirmations together. I'll say each one first, like we do, and then you can say it with me as I repeat it. My zeal shines from me, lighting my way and brightening my world. Together, my zeal shines through me, lightening my way and brightening my world. I enthusiastically accept my good and move forward with purpose. I enthusiastically accept my good and move forward with purpose. I ignite my zeal by focusing on what brings me joy. I ignite my zeal by focusing on what brings me joy. Through my power of zeal, I am courageous and true to my heart. Through my power of zeal, I am courageous and true to my heart. I am wholeheartedly aligned with love. I am wholeheartedly aligned with love. Could you feel how the energy lifted as we said those affirmations together? Makes a difference. Zeal is the engine, the energetic power that drives us. It's our get up and go power. Get up and go power. It's the energy that moves ideas into action and that transforms inspiration into expression. It's what moved Charles Fillmore at age 94 to spring forward with a mighty faith to do what was to be done by him. He said, zeal is the impulse to go forward, the impulse to go forward. And he said, without it, stagnation, inertia, and death would prevail. And we know a little bit about what that feels like, right? It's when our get up and go feels like it got up and went. And do you know that zeal has many faces? I learned some new ones in preparing for this talk. I always saw it more as the exuberant, where you could really tell somebody had a lot of zeal. But it can show up as a rush of energy when you're doing something exciting and new. It can be the energy of enthusiasm that has us getting out of bed in the morning, ready to start our day with positive expectancy. It can be shiny and bright and exuberant. Or when it's expressed out into the world and people notice that. Or it can be quiet intensity burning inside you. At times, it's a steady current, the quiet, focused determination that keeps us moving forward, step by step. It can express itself quietly through sustained commitment and a focus on action rather than on outward show. And it can show up as our passion for life, our creativity, our joy, or as a quiet, centered focus that says, I'm in this for the long haul. I'm in this for the long haul. Charles Fillmore calls zeal the inward fire of the soul that urges humankind forward regardless of the intellectual mind of caution and conservatism. And to me, one of the things that statement says to me is that I can use my power of zeal to keep stepping out of my comfort zone so that I keep growing and keep living life more fully. And deliberately stepping out of your comfort zone is called by many adventure. I relate to that. That's been true for me. That's what unexpectedly had me do my first 2 talks at this Unity Church. Reverend Julie first asked me to talk about the leap of faith I took when I quit my job with the state 7 years short of full retirement. My spirit made me do it. And then after that, I went out and did this bungee jump, and the next day did another one with my eyes open. And that was another leap of faith, all stepping out of my comfort zone. Little did I know what that was going to lead me to. I'm still speaking in Unity churches and very grateful for it. But I resonate deeply with zeal, though I realize that I don't use that word in my written or spoken vocabulary very often, and I rarely use the word zest, which is a synonym for zeal. So I said, I decided to add some new affirmations to my practice. So let's do another round of repeat after me and do my new affirmations. I am in the zone with zest and zeal. I am in the zone with zest and zeal. I love feeling energetic and enthusiastic. Feeling energetic and enthusiastic. I love taking inspired action. I love taking inspired action. I love new ideas and forward momentum. I love new ideas and forward momentum. I welcome new beginnings and the gifts they bring.
I welcome new beginnings and the gifts they bring.
And one more, I feel vibrantly alive as I am passionately engaged and purposefully driven. I feel vibrantly alive as I am passionately engaged and purposefully driven. Thank you for joining me in saying those affirmations. When I say them, they uplift me. They uplift me, give me energy. And I've also learned to be okay, which I didn't used to be a long time ago, but I've learned to be okay when zeal doesn't always feel like a blazing torch, because there have been times in my life when my zeal felt very dim. I was glad when I saw that the October power that I was going to speak about was zeal, as my zeal has been seeming to wane lately and sometimes even almost seem to disappear. And I knew if I talked on it, that would change, so I was glad to see that. And when I first started putting my words, when I first started putting my words together for this talk, I wasn't feeling zeal. I wasn't feeling it all. Yet I kept the faith. I went with it. And I love the way God always steps in to support me when I keep the faith. So I want to back up a little bit. Let's see. After I started regularly speaking here, I don't know how long ago it was, but Maxine and I were talking after a church, and I guess somehow I mentioned to her that my second talk here was doing a bungee jump, and that I was inspired by Bruce Brewer, who wrote an article in the Tallahassee Democrat about his experience with it. And guess what? Maxine happened to be neighbors with Bruce's mother. And I had I had found Bruce's mother's email a while back. Her son had passed away, and she remembered him every year on his birthday, putting a little thing in the Tallahassee Democrat about it. And somehow I found her email, and I emailed her, and I just wanted to tell her how much her son had made a difference for me. Said I was going to try not to cry, but that's all right. It's tears of joy, actually. Maxine invited her to church once this new sanctuary opened, and I got to meet her in person finally. And I was so happy about that. And I had told her back in the email years ago that I had an audio tape of that talk that I did right down here in 1997. It wasn't my Sunday talk. I'd already done that, I think, 8 years before. And it was a talk about all the blessings and gifts that came to me from doing those bungee jumps, all the spiritual gifts. And so I told her I asked her, what way to copy it would be easiest for her to listen to, and she said CD, so I found somebody to do that. And I picked up the CD last week. Now, I've never listened to that talk before. I don't listen to my talks a lot because I've still got that human little thing in me somewhere that says, you're not a really very good speaker. You don't want to listen to yourself and prove it. But I was going to listen to it because I wanted to be okay for her, make sure there weren't any glitches in it. And what happened to me when I listened to that, I heard my 28 years younger than I am now self full of zest and zeal and enthusiasm because of that experience and all it had brought me. So I got it right back in me just by listening to the younger me. And I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for God's gift. Now, let me back up to when my zeal first started waning that I noticed, and that was back when COVID started. And since then, it has ebbed and flowed because of all the interesting things that have been happening in the world lately. Anybody relate to that? Yeah. Yeah. So during COVID, the world slowed down. Many of our routines disappeared. A lot of the things that brought me joy stopped. I missed my Carolina Shag dance classes. I missed going to yoga. I missed traveling. I missed speaking at churches in person. At times, I felt like I had misplaced my mojo. Yet deep down, I knew that was still inside me. It was still inside me, waiting for me to remember it, bring it forth. And my faith continued to remind me that divine order is always at work, always in play. I like to say that better, always in play. Always in play. And that the source of joy, energy, and zeal is inside me. It's who I am. It's inside you right now. It's who you are. It might just be resting for a while, and that's okay. That's okay. But looking back, I can see that the COVID shutdowns offered us all a great gift. It's kind of like a divine reset, kind of like when you restart your computer, except that happens pretty quickly, and this divine reset is kind of stretched out, right? Moving a little bit more slowly. We were given a time to rest, to reflect, to go within, to listen, to recharge. And I truly believe that Spirit has been and still is working behind the scenes to dismantle things that are no longer for our highest good, things that no longer work, and then to rebuild things that align with a higher level, a higher order. I like to revisit Neil Donald Walsh's question. He said, what if, when it looks like everything is falling apart, it's really falling together at a higher level? It's really falling together at a higher level. Now, when we focus on that and envision that, that's faith in action. Everything now is really falling together at a higher level. We just don't see it all yet. I'm seeing some of it already, but there's a lot yet to be revealed. We never lose our spiritual powers. They sometimes go dormant like a seed in winter waiting for the springtime, right? And zeal's like that too. Yet, it always comes back when the time is right. Always comes back when the time is right. I don't think there's a wrong time for zeal to come back. Again, during that downtime provided by COVID, since I did then and still do have an intention every day to look at the bright side of things. Some people call me Pollyanna, which I don't think they meant to compliment me when they were doing that, but I looked up the story about Pollyanna and I said, yeah, I'm a Pollyanna. And I look on the bright side of things. But what happened was everything slowed down, so I had time to take long walks. I got to read books that I'd been wanting to read, and I got quiet, alone time, which the introvert half of me, I'm half-half, introvert half of me really, really enjoyed. There was hardly any traffic on the roads when I went out. That was really fun. I loved that. Remember that? And then my monthly talks at Unity of Albany continued on Zoom. And then I could talk from the comfort of my own home. Not that I didn't love going there, but the comfort of my own home. I could dress up on top and wear my pajama bottoms on the bottom. And that was kind of fun. I liked that. And I got to see people's faces on my computer screen, and I got to see their names because they don't wear name tags there. And sometimes I wouldn't remember, if they'd introduced themselves to me or didn't. And so I got to know their names. I got to connect more deeply with them because we could interact some on Zoom that wasn't really possible when I was speaking in front of the room in person. So there were so many blessings during that time. And all of that is Zeal expressing also just the quiet kind that glows from within. Zeal supports our powers that are related to our mind, faith, imagination, understanding, and will. Faith gives us trust. Imagination gives us vision. Understanding gives us insight. Will gives us direction. And then zeal gives us the energy to bring all of those to life. They all work together, teamwork, support each other, just like all of us support each other. So now, how can we consciously reactivate zeal in our lives? I said how. Remember, the how-to is God's business, not our business. Our business is to ask, believe, and receive. So ask Spirit to reignite that spark within. Believe that it is happening, and then open to receive that spark when it comes. And another way to activate zeal is to use affirmative prayer. And I made up one for me. I'll share with you. Thank you, God, for flowing through my mind and my body as zeal and enthusiasm. Thank you, God, for flowing through my mind and body as zeal and enthusiasm. That's as if it is now, thanking God in advance, affirming it. But maybe the simplest way of all is simply to follow your joy. Notice what uplifts you, what lights you up, what brings excitement to you. Notice that and be and do more of that. That's the simplest way. Maybe it's your meditating when you're open and willing and quiet. Maybe it's walking on the beach with your toes in the sand and the water and hearing the water flow up and flow back out. Maybe it's walking in the woods and smelling. I love the smell of nature. Pine straw, when it's heated by the sun, smells so good to me. And so many dirt smells good. And you hear the birds singing, and you see the sunbeams shining through the trees and the leaves. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's gardening or painting or playing with your children or grandchildren or pets. Or maybe it's you just dancing in the kitchen like nobody's watching. And then on the other side, when zeal feels low to you, it's often an invitation to look with new eyes, to see differently. A Course in Miracles says there's another way of looking at this. French author Marcel Proust said, "The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes." Having new eyes. You can choose to see differently. You can choose to see how the changes that are happening in your life can bring you new opportunities and new blessings. You can use your imagination to see that. What if you make it a game every day to notice and appreciate things that delight you, things that make you feel good? Might be a color you see. I love aquamarine. It might be a smile on someone's face. It might be someone you hearing someone speak a kind word. It might be seeing a child skipping. That's one of my favorite things to watch. It might be a flower in bloom. It might be your vegetables growing and getting ready to eat. But when you start noticing and appreciating more, your joy multiplies. And guess what's right behind it? Your zeal comes right behind that joy. Sometimes all it takes is sitting quietly and listening within. You can ask yourself questions like, what can I remember that brings me joy? What do I need to align with? What is it that would make my heart sing again? And you may not get answers right away, or you may. And even if you don't, they will come eventually. It might be while you're driving. Might be when you're in the shower. Might be 3 o'clock in the morning. God's timing is always perfect, always perfect. And when you follow the nudges you get, your flame begins to rise again. When guided by wisdom and love, zeal uplifts you and uplifts everyone around you. It's catching. It uplifts everyone around you. And here's something to be aware of. When you start using your spiritual powers and seeing how good they work, you might just want to go out and change the world, starting with your family members and some people you know, right? Change them. That's when you need to remember that true transformation begins within. Like Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. Be the zeal you want to see in the world. Be the enthusiasm you want to see in the world. When you live from zeal and love, you naturally inspire others to awaken their inner fire. You become a living, breathing model of positive possibility. Your senses awaken to new life. Every day is a fresh adventure with God. And every seemingly ordinary moment becomes an opportunity to say, thank you, God. I am willing. I am ready to shine. Thank you, God. I am willing. I am ready to shine. Say it with me. Thank you, God. I am willing and I'm ready to shine. And so it is.
Light of God.